Austin Ekeler and the LA Chargers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday Night Football with a chance to get to the playoffs. Austin, for the first time since 2018. Appreciate you taking out the time to join Brother from Another. It's so good to see you, man. So good to see you. You are the fantasy running back that I've never drafted high enough to get. So it's just good to talk to you. But I'll get to that in a second. I'll get to that in a second. But first and foremost, man, how are you feeling on as we approach this critical game to keep y'all season going? You have a career high 255 touches, I believe. Just how are you feeling physically going into Week 18 and game 17?
Yeah, it definitely feels like Week 18. That's for sure. The body definitely. Sorry. I was eating some chili lit. Definitely feels like it's Week 18. Body's a little beat down, but it's where the mind has to take over, right? My routine has to take over how I've been taking care of my body all year. I was dealing with the ankle injury. I ended up having COVID, which actually made me miss time, which actually ended up helping my ankle. So actually right now feeling pretty good as far as the circumstances. But yeah, going into this game, really looking forward to it. It's the last regular season game and we're playing for something at the end of the year. And that's really what, we play all year for, right? Is to have something to play for at the end. And we have that situation, so couldn't ask for anything else.
I'm just curious, man, on a slightly lighter note, and I'm sure you guys are locked in and focused and you know what's at stake. But I imagine, because you pay attention to a lot of stuff, did you see the story and the scenarios about the fact that if I think the Jaguars beat the Colts, I believe it is, that if you guys ended in a tie, y'all could both get in. So like people are talking about like an all kneel down game. I'm glad you're smiling because my question was, are y'all laughing about that in the locker room?
Yeah, I brought it up to my running back coach. I was like, you know what? We're going to see all these games being played. We got flexed to the night game, right? So, we're looking over there like, hey, we're both trying to get in. No, obviously for the integrity of the game, just for, our confidence, we'll go out there and try to win regardless. That's just, the competitive nature of the NFL. But that is actually a really funny scenario, yeah.
Austin, and Mike brought it up off the top of just this winner-take-all game or just winning your end game. I just wonder, just two things, like what your approach is going into this game. You can't say like, well, it's just like any other game because this is a game where you win it, you're in the playoffs. And if you can think of any other situations, just you as a fan, whatever team you followed, football, basketball, baseball, where you were on the edge of your seat, knowing that your team needed to do something to start achieving its ultimate goal.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it is another game, but I approach it with like, hey, there's a lot of different factors that you could be playing for, right? I've been in scenarios where we're out of the playoffs, but it's still another game. You're still playing for the name on your back. In this instance, we're still playing for the name on our back, still playing to get in the playoffs, and I always put the fantasy community out there too, as far as people that I play for. And we have a lot of different reasons to play as hard as we can. And so, yeah, when we can have, playoff picture being one of those reasons, it definitely heightens the excitement just towards the end of the year because of all the things that can come from playoffs. And so, yeah, this game, like I said before, like this is what a competitor would want, right? It's flexed to even Sunday night. Winner gets into the playoffs. Division game versus the Raiders. Chargers-Raiders games are always, really intense. Like I'm looking forward to running out of the stadium and just hearing the loudest boos I've ever heard because I already know that's what it's going to be. And I'm looking forward to that atmosphere of just being in the Raiders stadium of just the Raiders-Chargers game.
I can't wait to get to fantasy football with you. Well, except by your fantasy.
That gets me hyped, man. That gets me so hyped.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to talk to you about fantasy, but I want to stay with reality for a while longer. The last time you played the Raiders, you went off for a career high 117 rushing yards. That was back in week 4, I want to say it was. I'm sure you're aware you are 153 yards away from your first 1,000-yard rushing season. You're motivated for that. You're targeting that. Can we see a pretty heavy rushing workload from you on Sunday night?
I mean, that's always the game plan because if you can run the ball well, you can control the game. So that's the plan, right? Go in there and run the ball as efficiently as we can. If it gets me 150 yards, that'd be amazing. Yeah, it wasn't even something like really pay attention to numbers or anything at the beginning of the season. I just want to build. Like my goal every year is to build on the season I had before. So I've been doing that, and I'll continue to do that as long as we're still playing. But yeah, if I got 1,000 yards, like that's like one of those milestones that I can look back on when my career is over and be like, yeah, I did that. Show my kids and my family.
Wait, I need you to clarify that. Wait, I need you to clarify that. I don't pay attention to numbers. Wait, no, Austin. You are the fantasy football god in the NFL. You are every fantasy player's favorite player because you get us.
Right.
You understand us. You embrace us. So when you say that, you mean like you want to win the game and you're not necessarily putting your stats ahead, but you pay attention to the numbers. You know what's on the line week in and week out. How'd you get so into fantasy?
It's the community, man. It's the community. Like where's real value in life besides yourself is in other people, right? Yeah, you can have money, you can have these resources, but I think people is so valuable. So that's what really drew me to fantasy football, is that there's a giant community that really supports NFL players, and they might not even be a fan of the Chargers, but they're a fan of Austin Ekeler. And there were so many people reaching out and saying, hey, thank you. Like, hey, you killed it for my fantasy. I was like, wow, that's really special. And I want to do something, to thank those people and just to give back to that community. I try to give back to everyone in a way that I can, as far as the masses, some type of effort from myself. That's why, I did a fantasy show. I give away a jersey every week if you win with me on your fantasy team. Just different little things to get you excited about having Austin on your team, because I really appreciate everyone's support and want to kind of give back. And yeah, so I don't really pay attention to the numbers. Yeah, I need to for myself and my personal, progression in the NFL, but it's just a byproduct of me playing.
Well, because the opposite, there's a lot of guys like A.J. Brown, for example. Just the other day, I saw him on social media being like, forget your fantasy team. A lot of guys are the opposite extreme and they bristle at it. And they're just like, don't tweet me about your fantasy team. I don't care about your fantasy team. Like, what do you say to those guys who are less accepting and less enthusiastic about the fantasy community?
I think that's where, negativity, speaks way louder than positivity. And so when you see negative comments, people tend to like, see those and like want to react, and then, makes them feel some type of way. I've really been, dealing with communities over the past, with my streaming and with fantasy football. And so I really, trained my mind to realize, hey, there's way more people that support me than are trying to be negative and bring me down. And just by doing that has allowed me to like block out the haters. Like if you're toxic, I give you zero effort. Like you don't even exist to me, because there's so many people that do support. And so that's where people, I think, get like negative about, fantasy football, because it is a very bipolar industry. Because if people don't play well, they're like commenting in, they're keyboard warriors. But it's not always like that. If you don't play well, yeah, you're going to hear about it. And I'm always like, hey, if you're going to tell me that I didn't play well, you better be like, you better criticize, and you better have some constructive criticism. Like, tell me what you would have liked to see me do better. Like, I'm open to that. Don't just be coming in there saying you suck. Be like, no, Austin, I wish you would have ran that wide zone a little bit better and cut it back, and you would have got me more points. Give me some of that action. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
You want some fantasy football coaching. You want some scouting tips and coaching points. I love. Listen, what you just said, we're gonna run that back. The part about if you're toxic, I give you zero energy. That is the quote of the month for me. Like, I love that because Mike and I talk about this all the time of how easy it is when you have people coming at you, especially on social media. The negative people get a lot of the attention, but there's some people who just want to say, hey, what's up, Austin? Or just want some type of acknowledgement from you. It's much more meaningful for them to get some positive feedback from you rather than having you respond to somebody hating on you.
And that's how you create a positive community, right? As a football player, we have this platform where we have a lot of fans just because of being involved in this community. And if you're trying to have that, stay with you as long as you can, when your career's over, you should acknowledge these people, because if you only acknowledge them when they're giving negative thoughts, like then no one, all the positive people are getting ignored. And those are the people that were wanting to like interact and like follow you, when you're done playing. Because if you're only a football player and don't build any community, don't do anything else, when your football career is over, basically you're starting over as far as trying to build again. So I think it's just really important as players that we actually acknowledge these people that are supporting us and following us and try to give them some type of interaction other than football, so that we can create that community that stays with us, for a longer period of time.
Hey, one last fantasy question. Just for the record, because you got 3 teams, which, by the way, philosophically, two things. One, auction draft for me, always. One, like 3 teams. It's like it's too many conflicts of interest for me. But hey, to each his own. How did your 3 teams do? Like, are you in the playoffs in all 3, or what? And what
I got
were some of the
destroyed.
standouts for you this year? All
Yeah,
3
I
of
got
them?
destroyed. So the team that I was doing well in, I actually had myself on, and we were killing it. And
RB2.
Yeah, exactly. And then injuries happened. In my league, they're all 3 of them were 20 people deep. So if you have people that get injured, there's no one left. There's no one left to go pick up. You're picking up third strings, hoping they get you 1 point because all the pickings are gone. You know, so
it was a rough season. 10-team leagues, 12-team leagues, 20-team, 16 or 20, baby. That's
20.
Go ahead, Mike.
You got to do your homework before the season.
Yes, Mike, I can stay here all day, man. Change the subject. I'll talk this dude's head off about fantasy.
No, it's great. I love this. No, I love this. I love it. And, you know, on a related note, semi-related note, we lost John Madden, the football pioneer, earlier this year. Are you a fantasy fan and do you play a video? Are you a video game head too? Do you play Madden football?
I haven't played Madden, but I've definitely tapped into the gaming community because same reasons of the fantasy community, just community. I'm all about it, man. Yeah.
So you're not into the ratings of, hey, you know, Austin Ekeler. You got pretty good ratings on Madden too. You're not paying
never
attention
got
to
into the Madden ratings. I know people tweet me when they come out like that, but that's about it. You know, sometimes they'll joke around.
One of the things you said off the top, I want to come back to it, and I'm just wondering now that you've we've all gone through the experience. We've gone through it as observers. You've gone through it with your body, and that is a 17-game regular season. Is there anything you know now about this season that you didn't know before, and any tweaks to it, any advice, maybe another bye week? Like, what would you suggest if you had the ear of the commissioner and any of these committees that are shaping how football is played? What would you say to them about this 17-game season?
No, that's a great point. I would love to see another bye week. Even just when I had, you know, COVID and had to sit out a week, like coming back, my body just felt so good, especially this late in this season. And there's obviously, you know, monetary reasons to do it too. We get another league of ad revenue coming in, if you want to talk that way. And so, like, I think there's benefits, you know, all around on the player side and the ownership side. And so I would love to see another bye week, especially if we're going to continue to, you know, extend the season length. Like, mentally, I was like, man, this would be the first round of the playoffs, but you know, now we have 17 games. So as being a player that's been in the 16-game season, it's affected me psychologically. I got to get over it. Eventually that'll weed out, but yeah, I would love to see another bye week for sure.
Well, listen, man, we know you got business to handle. You got to get ready for the biggest game of the weekend in terms of the playoffs, at least in the AFC for sure. We appreciate you taking out the time, man. Appreciate your candor, your honesty, your, you know, just, you know, real fun to talk to. And listen, one more favor to ask you, bro. We talked about Madden ratings. We talked about fantasy. I told my 13-year-old son, Mason, that you were going to be on the show. He was like, can I come say hi? Because he has you on his fantasy team. He's had you in franchise mode. Yeah, go ahead, step in and wave a little bit. There you go, wave. Go ahead and wave. Yeah. There you go, wave. This way, look at the camera and wave.
Can you hear me? Can you see me or what?
He can hear you and he can see you, yeah.
Hey, what's up, Mason?
He can hear you and he can see. Hey, full disclosure, he traded you at the beginning of the season. He told me he traded you early. He said, I don't know why. He's he traded you on the fantasy team. Wow. Yeah, but you know, he loves you though.
Don't make that mistake again, Mason. Come on now.
He said he got scammed. Oh,
hey,
Austin,
hey,
thank
listen,
you, brother.
Austin, hey, Austin, every general manager can make a bad deal or two every now and then. It happens. It happens to the best.
Yeah, hey, don't feel.
Yeah, learn from
don't
that.
Feel bad,
learn
Mason. He went undrafted. The whole league didn't even draft him out of college, and look where he is now. You know.
That's right. That's right.
My man, appreciate you.
All right, boys.
All right.
Thank you, Austin. Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.